Hello and welcome to the video. This is a video about this model here. This is the 6S version of the Cinelog 35 from GepRC. Now, for those of you that watch the channel a lot, you'll be looking at that and thinking, hang on a minute, this feels like deja vu. And it kind of is, because I looked at the 4S version of this back in October 2021. And like lots of other reviewers here on YouTube, I really liked it. There was only one thing that was my reservation about that 4S version, and that was the relatively short flight times. Apart from that, it was pretty fantastic as a platform to put an action camera on there and to fly and get that kind of cinematic footage from. Now, one of the things that I really like about this particular frame layout is how lightweight and strong it is, and GepRC have definitely continued with that with this 6S updated version. Now, this is only about 260 grams without a battery or an action camera. Now, there's a couple of other styles of this that I've flown a lot. I really like the GepRC Cinelog 25. You'll have seen that in quite a few videos. It tends to be my default platform when I want to test a new camera for the DJI HD system. And I've also had this GepRC Cinego for a long time. This has for quite a while been my go-to to just fly around. And hopefully you can see the difference in size. Much bigger props here on this Cinego 35, which should hopefully result in some better flight performance. The original version of this on 4S was very easy to fly, and it was very easy to get that kind of cinematic footage from it. It was one of the best for jello of all the quads that I have flown. This kind of design also includes vibration isolation, not only for the FPV camera, but also for the action camera as well. The original one on a 4S battery does fly like a 5-inch quad, so even though you have this slightly unusual design with the downward facing props and everything out the way of the action camera and the FPV camera, actually you don't really notice that. It will still behave and perform. If you're used to a 5-inch quad, a nice powerful 5-inch quad, then this will kind of feel pretty much exactly the same. So I'm interested to see what difference there is in this 6S version. What have they changed, and does it address that one reservation that I had about the 4S version, which was the relatively short flight times? So while I unbox this, let's go through some of the specs. Most of this will seem familiar to you. Now, this is available as the DJI HD system that I have here, but also as analog versions as well. And there have been a couple of changes to the model since I did my review of it originally back in October 2021. In the end of May, they changed the propellers from D93 to HQ props. And at the end of June, they changed the camera mount in here as well, so it's the same adjustable GoPro mount. So in terms of the specs, this again is the Cinelog 35 HD Nebula Pro. This is the 6S version. The frame is a Gep CL35, wheelbase is 142mm, top plate is 2.5, bottom plate is 2.0, the arms are 3.5mm. Now the flight control system is a little bit different depending on which one you get. This is the 6S version, so this has the 45 amp all-in-one F722 base flight controller that's very neatly tucked away right in the middle. In addition, very nicely, this thing uses the Cadix Nebula Pro, one of my favorite cameras for the DJI system. So it's great that they're not skimping here when they're picking stuff. That, alongside the great all-in-one flight controller, means the stack is incredibly small with the air unit light tucked away in the middle of all the props, hopefully away from damage. The motor on the 6S version is a GR 2004 1750 kV for the 6S. If you go for the 4S version, it's a GR 2004 2550 kV. So they've dropped the kV quite a bit for the 6S version. Recommended battery for this is for 4S up to 1500 mAh and on a 6S up to 1100 mAh. However, I'm using this with a pretty lightweight camera, so I'm running it with a 1400 mAh 6S, and that's giving me a nice flight time. Let's have a very quick look at the Betaflight stuff. I'm not to go into too much depth here. A dump and diff are going to be in links below if you want to see how everything is set up. Now, first of all, let's put it into expert mode. You can see there's a little bit here in the data flash, always good to see. There's a QC sticker on here. Nothing in here showing it's set up for the DJI on-screen display. However, it does work, so I'm not sure exactly how that's configured, because normally that'll be over there in the peripheral stuff. There is the 3.2 kHz gyro, 1.6 kHz PID loop frequency. Even though this is an F7 based processor, it's still running, sat on the bench at 14%. Everything is pretty standard in here. Obviously no GPS, no real buzzer connected to this either. This is more of a cinematic whoop. Then we have the battery settings for current like that. The modes are set up by default. The manual for this is pretty good. I would definitely come in here for the air unit if you're going to be using the DJI FPV remote and move things around. This isn't a bad setup for modes, but definitely not the way I like it. The only other thing I'd recommend you do, as well as coming into modes, have a look at the on-screen display stuff. The stuff for the DJI system does work, but unfortunately it isn't kind of all turned on in here. So if you want other stuff, you can activate it and move it around as you would with any other DJI FPV setup. Again, links down below. But let's face it, we all want to hear about what it's like to fly. Again, I'm flying this with a 1400 6-cell LiPo pack. This is the one from Genzace. This is the R-Line V5s that I looked at a while ago. They're incredible for very smooth delivery and very low voltage sag when you're asking a lot of them. All up weight with a battery without an action camera is about 484 grams. Couple of things to comment on. The flight itself is fantastic. It does exactly what you'd expect it to. However, there is a little bit more power and punch with this being 6S, and because of the increased voltage, the amount of current that it's using is a little bit less as well. The noise is more than you would expect. Even though there's lots of open areas around the ducting, around props, it's still making quite a high whine, particularly when you open the throttle. This isn't the kind of thing that you could fly in the park and most people wouldn't realise that you were flying a quadcopter. You're going to announce to everybody for fields around that you're flying this thing. It flies very much like a nice powerful 6S powered 5-inch quad. Another indication of how powerful it is the hover throttle is very low, even with a bigger battery on it and the peanut camera, which is what the other footage is here. It's hovering at only about 20-25%, and that power really is fantastic with no problem, especially with a battery like this that can cope with lots of current without any sag. You can get some really good speeds, and it's great for just blipping the throttle to arrest a quick descent. But again, when you blip the throttle, the noise level goes up too. The thing that I'm very pleased about with this is that the endurance is so much better. I'm getting about 6 minutes out of my 1400 6S pack flying in a relatively spirited fashion. And that's the amount of flying that I can use to do things like filming my mates' wings and planes as they're flying around and do the stuff that I want with it. And that was the thing that was missing when I tried the 4S version. Tune and stability is very good, with no wobble and lots of control. And hopefully here you can see how it's performing from the footage as well. A really, really nice unobstructed view of what is going on, and no problems at all with the camera on the top. Occasionally you hear of people doing reviews and complaining about wobble, particularly when they have vibration isolated camera mounts. I don't think you can make that distinction unless you've actually put an action camera on it with the camera, because you haven't got the weight on there that the dampeners are designed for. It's a very fun, powerful and agile filming quad that is very, very easy to fly smoothly. So there's lots on this thing that I like, but then that's not a surprise because I liked the 4S version as well. The larger props and the 6S mean that we are getting longer flight times and it's not using the same amount of current. I like the fact that there are spares in the box for the propellers. I also like the saddle style battery mount that leaves a lot of room for the action camera at the front, even if you're using a full fat GoPro. Vibration isolation, is still not very common on quadcopters of this type, but this one seems to work very well. And I like the fact that they've put a Nebula Pro at the front, so they're not skimping and it doesn't dampen the fantastic experience of flying something like the DJI system with a quad like this. Lots of power, so you can handle heavier action cameras like that full fat GoPro if you really want to put one on here, and the build and quality and the finish is excellent, which is what I've come to expect from GepRC. There's even a power adapter for an action camera from the 6S balance tap included in the kit. Only a few things to be aware of really. This hasn't been designed for flippy floppy or racing. This is designed to be a filming rig, and even though it can go like stink and you can probably do flippy floppy with it if you really wanted to, that's kind of not what this is aimed at. You do need something that's reasonably flat to take off from. I've had a couple of instances where when I've fired it up, it has kicked up a lot of dust over the camera lenses and over itself. It just is that downwash. I would recommend, if you're going to fly something like this, make sure that you're taking it off from something like your radio bag. It'll mean that you don't suck a lot of dirt into all of the motor bearings and the lenses of the cameras. No power adapter in here for other action cameras, but I'm guessing I would probably follow their lead and use a 6S balance tap to make one up if I was using another action camera. I'm using the Peanut here that actually has its own internal battery, so I'm not worrying about that. Prop shroud is very rigid. I actually don't mind the fact that it isn't black. Not everything has to be black in the hobby, but I can see little bubbles inside what I'm guessing is a casting here. It's quite rigid, probably more rigid than the 4S version. This seems to be a change on this particular version of the model. Hopefully it's not going to break if I hit anything. So far it's been great, but I am a bit worried about some of those bubbles inside. They're potentially points of weakness. And the last point, just to remind you, is that the noise from this is very loud. When you're flying around, it is screaming away like a powerful 6S 5-inch quad will do, so everyone around you is going to know that you're flying. So in summary, what do I think? Well, as I said at the beginning, I really liked the 4S version of this. I just wanted something that flew for a little bit longer. And this one does on 6S. I would have liked 8 minutes, but you know what? I'm not going to get that out of this, but I do get a good 6 minutes depending on how I fly it. And that's enough for me to use it. The acid test with things like this, where I'm very lucky enough to get sent this stuff for free to try out, is how many of them end up on the shelf behind me to go to the field, how many of them go back in the box once a review is done. This one is going to go on the shelf behind me and become the go-to rig when I want to do those filming jobs and playing around with my friends, where I want to follow their planes and get that aerial footage, particularly with something like the Peanut camera. So whereas the 4S, because of those shorter flight times, didn't make it onto the shelves behind me, this 6S absolutely will. Thank you for spending your time today watching that video. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you're trying to learn about a subject, then check out the playlist. All of my videos are organized into easy to follow playlists that, if you're trying to learn a topic, will take you from the basics right the way through to some pretty advanced stuff.